about India scaling a global tech business. A lot of people didn't think India was able to have a business like yours scale the way it has. Tell me about that progress. Why is India able to accomplish what OYO has?
So first off, this generation of young Indians have a hunger and enthusiasm like never before, followed with significant amount of support from the community across the world. Look at US, for instance. In United States, OYO Hotels operates over 300 hotels across 35 states. But the reason we've been able to do it is we have a large Indian community here in the United States who felt, well, this is a company that's grown from back in India, and we believe that hospitality is a segment where Indians have done reasonably well in the US. Why don't we double down and support OYO in terms of becoming a leading partner for us? So I feel a combination of hunger and enthusiasm to make a big difference, followed with great support from the community, I believe have been two important reasons.
What has helped OYO set itself apart? I mean, you obviously have significant competition in the sector. What has been the differentiator?
So first off, in this segment, OYO operates slightly uniquely. But that said, all the other players who try to serve individual hotels across the United States, or whether they are just larger hotels, invariably people start with a perspective of how much fees I can receive from the asset. OYO thinks the other way around. We come in and say, how can we help our partners become successful? So we say, our partners need CapEx to improve their underlying asset. Let's help them with that. Our partners need dynamic pricing. Let's help them with that. They need somebody to support them 24/7. So we set up a 24/7 center versus that of inspections that some of the other companies would run. So from our perspective, we keep our property partners at the heart of our decisions. And that's the reason why we've been opening more than one hotel a day here in the US for a year now, and we hope to keep doing that in the years to come.
So to raise the kind of capital that you have has been very, very impressive. Obviously, for those people that don't know, you've raised money from SoftBank, among other large capital enterprises. Talk about that part of things, because certainly they talk about moving to Silicon Valley, where we're based, and it seems like money is flowing from every corner if you have a viable idea. But that's not necessarily the case in India. So how were you able to tantalize investors about your concept?
Sure. I think reality is increasingly if you're able to build a good business with the right kind of principles and be able to make results out of it, the world is becoming increasingly globalized. India is one of the most fastest growing economies in the world. It recently turned $3 trillion, and our Prime Minister has a dream of making it a $5 trillion economy in the coming years. To the extent that is true, and if you have a real viable business idea, I think capital is not as hard to receive in India or China, which are really fast growing, highly visible economies in the world. And I'm truly thankful that I was born in India, where economy was booming and it had a belief and conviction of being the best in the world.
Do you like being compared with some of the American companies that are doing things in a similar way?
We believe that we are happy to be compared, even though we believe we are unique. But to the extent, if you look at our services, we bring a broader gamut of services with much more authenticity in comparison to some of the other companies that we compete with, not necessarily just from US, but across the world.
And tell me about what's going to make you set yourself apart in this country. Now you're starting to make inroads in the United States. Tell me about your plans here for America.
So here in the US, we opened our first hotels in March of 2019. In less than a year, we now operate over 300 OYO hotels. We've partnered with a large group of asset owners. People like that of Raj Patel or Priyank Shah have bought multiple hotels with us, all of whom have 4, 5, 6, 7 asset in partnership with us. So our aspiration is bring consumers an easy to book one, push a button and get a great quality space at just $60, $70, $80, $100 a night. On the other hand, partners should get higher revenue when they partner us. On an average, people who have spent 3-4 months with us have seen their RevPARs jump by 60 to 70%. Now, that's not the expectation we want to set. All we want to say is that it will be better than what they have been doing today by means of all the learnings that we've had over the last few years.
Is key to that the OYO brand? I mean, that's part of the strategy, is to make sure that your brand is everywhere.
Sure. Key to that is consumers trust the OYO brand for deciding which places they live in. So, for example, in markets such as San Antonio or Houston, we are able to see 30, 35, 40% demand coming in or flowing through the OYO direct services or the mobile app and so on. Beyond that are walk-ins and online travel agency partnerships, where also we are able to increase significant demand because of our brand presence and power.
And with all the other consolidation in the hotel business, I mean, obviously Marriott is a monolith now. How do you compete with some of these guys that are saying, hey, we need to scale up to compete with an OYO?
Sure. At this point of time, OYO is very focused in the economy to the mid-scale segment, and Marriott's focused in the upmarket to upper mid-scale equivalent. I think from our perspective, we are of course quite inspired by the work that Marriott has done, and we hope to try and replicate some of those learnings, albeit in a new business model that we have brought to the market.
Finally, you gave a very inspirational talk. I mean, throughout the weekend here at Harvard. What do you personally take away spending a weekend with these folks that aspire to be like you?
I think first off, I got the great opportunity to speak to professors, business people, students from the Harvard Business School or the Kennedy School of Government, and others. First off, I'm very thankful that they all thought us being reasonable enough to come and listen from us. Thank you so much for that. The second thing I believe is I got a lot of learnings. People shared all the great things we were doing, and also people shared what we could do better. So they know a lot more about OYO than I thought. So people are very curious and are very actively connected to the OYO story. And the third one is there's just so much belief and conviction in what OYO is trying to do here in the US and various parts of the world that people are believers in, that we appreciate the sense of responsibility we have in making a difference with this company.